Hi, I'm Tia. Today I'm going to teach you how to make beautiful handmade baubles that will be perfect for your tree. You can choose the colours that suit your style and you can embellish things and go as wild as you like. For these baubles you will need a styrofoam ball, decoupage paper. There are tons and tons of different patterns and colours, and you can see from this tree over here that the world really is your oyster when it comes to decoupage papers. You can also use tissue papers, and our paper chaser there's just a plethora of options if you go and have a look. So we're going to need decoupage paper, a bauble. There's a whole bunch of different varnish options that you can use. There's one that's got a glossy finish, a glittery finish, a matte finish, and today we're going to use the one with a satin finish, which gives you just a slight bit of gloss and gleam, but nothing too shiny. Once you've finished your bauble, there's all sorts of things you can do. You could add pearls to your bauble to create a little bit more bling. You could put letters on it or initials. You could even dip it in glitter like this one, or this lovely example over here as well. I'm going to show you how to do the basic bauble, and then it really is up to you what you want to do to make it more personal for you. So we're going to use this blue paper today. When you tear up the paper, you're going to get a different pattern to what you see in the box. So be aware of that when you're selecting one. Tear up the paper into pieces around no bigger than a 50p coin, and that's so that they don't crease and crinkle when you place them on the bauble. First step then, taking a paintbrush, and you want one that's quite soft so that you don't end up with lines and marks from the paintbrush. And we're going to put a little bit of varnish on your bauble. Put your piece of paper on the bauble, hold it steady with your thumb, and then smooth it down with varnish on top. If you find that there are lumps and bumps or things that don't look very good, just take your thumb and smooth it out like that, so that it's nice and smooth with no bubbles. Then you take your next piece, a little bit more varnish on the side, and place your next piece slightly overlapping the first. Continue like that until you've covered your entire bauble. Now my bauble is finished. If you want to hurry up the drying process, you could use a hairdryer. Now your bauble's dry, you can have a look at it and see if it needs a second coat. With this blue paper, you don't need it, but some of the papers will require a second layer. Next thing is to put the top in your bauble. We sell packs of 10 bauble tops here, and I'm actually not going to bother using this part for my one. I'm just going to use the wired part. So this bit's a little bit tricky, and you could end up having bauble tops flinging. Be aware. So you want to squeeze it together slightly like this, and then go for a stabbing action into your bauble. Push it down. So you've got that, and now it's time to add the ribbon. I've chosen a yellow ribbon because I think it's got a lovely contrast against the blue. It's better to tie it around your bauble rather than through the hoop, as you'll get it tighter to the actual bauble rather than having a gap, particularly if you're using a thin ribbon. So once that's tied nice and tightly like that, you want to tie your bow. The best way to get a good bow is to go back to your preschool days when you're learning to tie your shoelaces and create bunny ears. That way you end up with the tails both facing down and not one up and one down. Before you pull it tight, just reposition your bow, make sure your tails are facing the correct way and you like the general shape, and then you can pull it tight and adjust it slightly until you're happy with the look. Once you're happy with your bow, it's time to snip the tails. So just give it a little snip just to get it to the height that you like or length that you like, and that's it, finished. All you need to now do is add your loop on the top. There you go. I'm going to pop this on my tree. As an alternative to the decoupage baubles, there are also a whole bunch of options for things that you can do with glitter. So using the styrofoam balls, you could create things like this neon bauble. There's so many beautiful glitters. Here's the neon glitter, but there's probably about 20 different colors and iridescent glitters that you can buy as well. And that's just as simple, using PVA glue to cover your bauble and dipping it in glitter. You can create something really beautiful. Even a two-toned one, which we did here. Or decoupaging your bauble and then dipping the bottom half in glitter. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed that tutorial. Happy Christmas.